Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful day to gather around and talk about the latest twists in Port Charles. We are so grateful to have you here, sharing in the suspense and thrilling moments that keep us coming back for more. Grab a cozy blanket and your favorite warm drink, because we have a lot of intense drama to unpack right now. I have to tell you, my heart is just in my throat when I think about what is happening with sweet Trina Robinson. Bless her heart, this young woman has already been through so much turmoil and so many dangerous situations in her short life. All I have ever wanted for her is a little bit of peace, a chance to just breathe and enjoy her youth. But it seems like peace is the one thing she simply cannot have right now. There is a dark, ominous cloud gathering over her, and the most terrifying part is that she does not even see it coming. Someone is watching Trina. Someone is tracking her every single move, and they have been doing it for a very long time. When I first realized the depth of this stalker situation, a genuine chill went straight down my spine. It is an entirely different nightmare to be hunted by a shadow that refuses to show its face. Just picture this in your mind, because it is honestly the stuff of absolute nightmares. Somewhere out there in Port Charles, hidden away from the light of day, this unseen stalker has put together an entire board dedicated exclusively to Trina. It is covered, end to end, with secret, candid photographs. This disturbed individual has been obsessively documenting her life for at least a year, maybe even longer. Every time she smiled at a joke, every time she walked down the street with a coffee thinking she was perfectly safe, this predator was there, watching through a lens. The sheer dedication and patience it takes to maintain that level of obsession is deeply unsettling to me. I cannot help but wonder how many times this person stood just a few feet away from her, breathing the exact same air, entirely unnoticed. What really makes my stomach tie itself into knots is the specific nature of these photographs. They are all close-up shots, capturing incredibly intimate, unguarded moments, yet they are never taken face-to-face. This tells me two very frightening things about the person behind the camera. Either this stalker is heavily relying on a high-powered, long-range zoom lens to spy on her from afar like a hunter tracking prey, or worse, it is someone she already knows. It could very well be someone hiding in plain sight. A familiar face she trusts implicitly, someone who smiles and waves at her every single day while secretly harboring this twisted fixation. The idea that a friend or an acquaintance could be the one behind this is almost too much to bear. It completely shatters the illusion of safety in her everyday American life. But the detail that truly made me gasp out loud, the moment that signaled pure, unadulterated danger, involves poor Kai Taylor. There was a candid, lovely photograph taken of Trina and Kai together at the Metro Court pool. It should have been just a sweet, innocent memory of two young people enjoying a sunny afternoon. Instead, this deeply disturbed stalker took that photo, ran it through photo editing software, and completely erased Kai from the image. They literally wiped his entire existence out of that picture, leaving Trina all alone in the frame. When I saw that, I felt a cold dread wash over my entire body. This is not just a harmless crush. This is a violent, possessive, and deeply dangerous obsession. The stalker is sending a clear message. Kai does not belong in Trina's world, and he needs to be permanently removed. And bless his soul, Kai is starting to sense that something is terribly wrong. You know that eerie, prickling feeling you get on the back of your neck when you just know unseen eyes are burning into you? Kai is feeling exactly that. In the upcoming scenes, we are going to see this young man becoming increasingly uneasy and restless. Even when Trina is not right there beside him, he feels the heavy, malevolent weight of a gaze tracking his every movement. I can only imagine how terrifying and exhausting that must be for him. He is constantly on high alert, looking over his shoulder, trying his hardest to act natural so he does not give away his growing suspicions. But inside, his nerves must be absolutely frayed to the core. He simply does not know where to look, because the threat could literally be coming from any direction. This puts Kai in such a heartbreaking and impossible dilemma. On one hand, his natural, deeply ingrained instinct is to protect Trina at all costs. He does not want to frighten her or cause her any unnecessary panic, especially considering the mountains of trauma she has already survived. He wants to be a strong source of comfort and stability for her, not the bearer of terrifying news. But on the other hand, the heavy silence of keeping this secret is eating him alive. The thought that truly makes his blood run cold is the sudden, horrifying realization that if he is being watched while he is all alone, then someone else might be watching Trina at that exact same moment. The sheer vulnerability of their situation is enough to make anyone lose their mind with worry. He knows he might be forced to tell her the truth, but he is terrified of making a clumsy mistake. And this is exactly where the story takes a sharp turn that has me practically shouting at my television screen in frustration. Because instead of realizing they are dealing with a crazed, obsessive stalker who wants Kai dead, Kai and Trina might end up pointing their fingers in the completely wrong direction. There is a very real, very dangerous possibility that they will suspect Willow Kane is the one behind all of this creepy surveillance. Now, I know that sounds completely wild at first glance, but when you look at the tangled, messy web of Port Charles right now, you can almost understand how their anxious minds might jump to that specific conclusion. Willow has recently moved into the Quartermain Gatehouse, and there is a massive, swirling storm of family drama surrounding her right now that is catching everyone's attention. Let us not forget the explosive, life-altering secret that has been tearing through the Corinthos and Quartermain families lately. The word is out that Willow actually confessed to Michael Corinthos that she was the one who shot Drew Kane. That is a massive, earth-shattering revelation, and Michael has brilliantly and ruthlessly backed Willow into a perfect, inescapable corner because of it. The tension in that family is so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. With all this intense hostility, suspicion, and betrayal floating in the air, it is entirely plausible that Kai and Trina, perhaps after hearing whispers of Willow's messy situation, might think she has hired some sort of private investigator or a shady goon to keep tabs on the people around town to protect her own dark secrets. They might even suspect that Yuri, the usually loyal and quiet family bodyguard, is the one silently tailing them on Willow's direct orders. It makes a twisted sort of logical sense in their panicked minds. If they believe this is just some petty revenge plot or a bit of corporate espionage connected to the ongoing Quartermain family drama, they are going to treat it like a manageable, everyday nuisance rather than a literal life-or-death crisis. And that, my dear friends, is the fatal mistake that has me sitting on the edge of my seat, biting my nails. Because if they firmly believe Willow is the puppet master pulling the strings, they will completely drop their guard against the true, lethal threat that is lurking just out of sight in the shadows. They are walking straight into a deadly trap. I cannot possibly stress enough how incredibly dangerous this tragic misunderstanding is going to be for both of them. By focusing all their attention, energy, and suspicion on Willow, who is entirely innocent of this particular creeping crime, Kai and Trina are essentially turning their backs on a loaded gun. The real stalker, the completely unhinged individual who literally erased Kai from a photograph and wants him gone permanently, will have the absolute perfect opportunity to strike while they are distracted. They are walking straight into a deadly, carefully laid trap, completely blindfolded by their own incorrect assumptions. It is a classic, heartbreaking misdirection, and it is going to leave Kai incredibly vulnerable to a fatal attack. I am sitting here just praying with all my heart that someone connects the dots before it is too late. When the ugly truth finally comes to light, and it always does in a town like Port Charles, the profound psychological toll this is going to take on sweet Trina will be utterly devastating. Imagine discovering that while you were mildly worried about local family squabbles and neighborhood gossip, a literal predator was compiling a massive, terrifying shrine of your private photographs. Imagine the horror of realizing that the sweet new man in your life was actively targeted for death simply for having the courage to stand next to you. Trina is such a strong, remarkably resilient young woman, but every single person has a breaking point. I deeply fear that this revelation, especially if Kai ends up getting seriously hurt, will completely shatter her fragile sense of security forever. She will never be able to look at a crowd the same way again. As for Kai, this upcoming week is going to be his ultimate, terrifying test of survival. He is stepping blindly into a level of mortal danger that he never could have possibly anticipated when he first smiled at Trina. The stalker clearly views him as an unacceptable obstacle, a frustrating nuisance that needs to be permanently and violently removed from the equation. Every single step he takes right now is absolutely fraught with peril. If he makes one wrong move, if he confronts the wrong person in town, or if he tries to play the brave hero without understanding the full, terrifying scope of the stalker's madness, it could very well cost him his life. I find myself holding my breath every single time he appears on my screen, just waiting for the chaos to begin. We are going to have to watch these upcoming episodes with absolute eagle eyes, praying that our favorite characters make it out of this dark nightmare alive.